Rolling.
So just to let you know where I'm going with it.
That's big.
Okay, go ahead.
Meet Glenn Close. She portrays Queen Gertrude in Hamlet, although I think it's important that Mel Gibson as Hamlet refers to you not as his mother at one point in the play, but as his father's brother's wife. Is that a significant change in how Hamlet looks at you?
Yes, because he hates the fact that I've married my ex-husband's brother, who is his father.
Now therein hangs a tale, to borrow from another play, but what is going on with Queen Gertrude? Is she maybe surrounded with more controversies and mysteries, maybe even than Hamlet himself in this play? What do you think about that?
Well, I think you could have a whole play devoted to Gertrude. But
Do
I think,
we really know what she's guilty of, if anything? Do we know?
Well, I mean, again, there's infinite interpretations, possibilities for Hamlet. I think in my Gertrude, that she did not know of the murder of her husband, or that her now present husband murdered her former husband. The Gertrude I played wouldn't be able to. She wouldn't have married him. I think she has. Hamlet makes her guilty. I mean, the Gertrude that I'm playing, when you first see her, is just in the throes of the love of her life, who is Claudius. And she's probably the happiest that she's ever been, the most fulfilled, certainly sexually, that she's ever been. And it's not until the very famous scene where Hamlet confronts her in the bedroom that doubt is put into her heart and guilt is put into her heart, and it changes everything.
I think that's fair, because except for the opening murder, that which occurred before the curtain, your husband's a pretty neat guy. He's an admirable character, isn't he?
Yeah, and I'm described by Hamlet as hanging on him, as if appetite fed by that which it was what. And so the image of this woman is a woman who not only is tactile, but who basically loves her husband. But I think the key to Gertrude is that she is a physical person, and that she needs somebody there to touch and to comfort and to be comforted by. And once her husband dies and her son has gone to college, she has nothing, and so she's open to the seduction of the brother.
Let's stay with that physical, if we may. You are possessed with two of the longest braids in the history of cinema in this. That's quite a wig.
It's in a spectacular wig.
Is there a story behind this? Yes,
there is. I mean, Paul Huntley, who built it, has done. I've worked with him since I started in theater in 1974. He's I think the best wig maker in this country. He's in New York. He's English, and when I knew that I'd have to have some, spectacular wig, it was to Paul that made it. It was the longest wig that he's ever made. It's 34 inches long. And he searched all over the world to find hair that long, because it's very, very rare. And he finally found it in Poland, and it was white. Probably an 80-year-old woman,
who had never cut her hair, possibly.
And so all that beautiful color is something that he put into the wig. But it's dressed. You can have a wonderful wig, and then you have to have a wonderful wig dresser, somebody who actually makes the styles. And
Indeed.
Maria Therese, who is this fantastic Italian woman.
When we spoke after Dangerous Liaisons, we talked about hair and clothing and what it told us about the women of that time. What about your hair and the clothing that you wear in Hamlet? What does that tell us about the style of a woman of class at that time?
Well, we used the hair a lot because in the beginning, the first images of Gertrude is really that of a young girl, because I wanted her to be silly with love, and her hair is very loose and very romantic looking. And then as the story unfolds and tragedy kind of, the tragedy starts happening, her hair becomes more and more contained, and she ends up basically looking like a nun. She retreats, and she's ashamed of her hair. I mean, she's made to be ashamed of her sexuality. And
now, the play is the thing, to borrow another line, sorry about that, but when people come to see this, do you hope that there is a fair percentage of members of the audience that maybe have never seen a Shakespeare play in any form before, and there they will be, maybe drawn to the theater for the first time, in a sense.
Yeah.
Would that be a nice...
Yeah, I think it would be great. I mean, that was our goal, to do Shakespeare in this time, is to try to make it as accessible as possible. And I think that's why it's so wonderful that Mel has done it. And I hope that people will also say, gee, I've got to go back to see if I get more out of it, you know, because they won't get everything in the first viewing at all. It's too rich.
And take us to the set. We've got just time for another question. Was it pretty cold up there on the battlements? I mean,
yeah. Yeah, well, that was in Scotland, and it was pretty chilly.
how many different locations for the castle scenes, all told?
I don't know, because I was only in, I went up to Castle Donatar for the funeral scene, and I was down in Dover for the scenes where I ride out of the courtyard.
Nice way to see some of the more chilly aspects of England.
Well, actually, it was really, England was having the hottest summer that they've had to
Really?
date. And it got very, very worrisome, because they went to Scotland to get dreary, foggy, wet, depressing weather, and it was like Saint-Tropez. So it was only after 2.5 weeks that it started getting like it should have gotten.
Only in the movies, and in real life do we have such discrepancy. Glenn Close, yes, she is Queen Gertrude, but she is also Hamlet's father's brother's wife. And there is a lot of drama. We're talking about Hamlet, and we are here in Hollywood. I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5. Okay, thanks.
That's nice. Thank you.